Hey, good morning. It's early. How do you get to a supernatural state? How do you get to your subconscious or your unconscious? Is it only by moving to Nepal and wearing an orange robe and shaving your head and living on a mountaintop for 2 years? Or is it possible in a house in Flagstaff, Arizona on a odd Wednesday in December? You decide. I wrote a book called Every Single Day. It applies to many things, even spirituality. In fact, especially spirituality. These mystical experiences, one of which I just had, don't come around only when you're in that, how can we put this, sort of expected state when you do the, weekend meditation retreat or the 10-day workshop. They can, and they do, and they will. But it's also that you're in shape, and that you're in spiritual shape, that you're in a meditative shape. And just like running a marathon, you don't just run a marathon out of the blue and it goes well. I mean, I guess you could run a marathon out of the blue, but you're probably going to hurt yourself and be in pain for days, if not weeks, and possibly even have some permanent damage. Whereas if you train and build up to a certain point where you're, again, in shape, then the marathon is easier. In fact, I remember my dad would run, I think he ran like a full marathon the week before or something, the actual marathon. So he really did. He ran the full distance. What is it, 26.2 miles? He ran the full distance a week before the quote-unquote real thing. And so you could ask yourself, what is the real thing? Is it only because you're together with a big group of people doing the same thing? If you think about a meditation experience or a retreat where there's 10 people or 100 people or 1,000 people, is that the more real thing than you doing the meditation on your own? I don't know. Although I have to say, with something like meditation or running, you are absolutely influenced by your surroundings and the energy and the vibe and the camaraderie around you, and it makes a difference. So here I am in my early morning, Flagstaff, Arizona, house of my sisters, and I just had a pretty cool meditation. If I remember, and you can ask me in the comments, if I forget, I'll try to put the link to the exact meditation I did. It was 41 minutes. And if you think, I don't have 41 minutes, well, I made 41 minutes. I got up a little earlier. I didn't start my day in the traditional sense, because this is actually the traditional sense of my day. I start every single day with meditation. And in fact, I will leave you with that on the secret to finding spirituality, to finding that level of enchantment, that level of enlightenment. And I think it comes through daily practice. Whether it's 1 minute or 17 minutes or 41 minutes, the actual amount of time matters less. It's that you're doing it, that you're in shape, and that I just went back to, I'm not going to get into details. There was a kid in like Keds tennis shoes for some reason, and in his name were the letters E and H and E and a R, maybe an M. I couldn't get his name really clearly. He had something in his hand, and his hand was a stone, but it turned into a diamond. And in fact, he sort of twisted the top off of the diamond like a cologne bottle into something with inside. So if you think about this, which is kind of fun, then he had a stone, which eventually became a diamond, which wasn't only just a pretty rock, but it had something inside if you knew how to open it. So I'll leave you with that little gem, pun intended, that little gem of spiritual wisdom for this fine Wednesday morning. And I will let you tell me what you think, and if you're going to wait for the mountaintop in Nepal, or if you're going to take that oddball Wednesday morning on an otherwise insignificant day in December and make something of it by transporting yourself, by transmuting yourself, by transforming yourself into another state. And how do you do that? By closing your eyes and allowing yourself to enter into another realm, another dimension that we all have access to. There you have it. So what is the real state? What can we achieve? And how do we get there? And is it a daily thing, or do you have to go to Nepal? Signing off from Flagstaff, Arizona. This is Bradley Charbonneau, the Repossible podcast and YouTube channel. Leave a comment if this resonated with you. Thanks for watching or listening. Bye for now.